Upon returning home, Lu Xian didn't linger and went straight to his house. His mind preoccupied with the spiritual plants in the courtyard. Inside the house, he eagerly took out a formation plate stained with dark red bloodstains. The plate contained a basic defensive formation that, when activated, could protect a certain area and serve as a warning against intruders. Taking a deep breath to calm himself, Lu Xian circulated his spiritual energy and followed the instructions given by the casual cultivator at the market, slowly infusing it into the formation plate. Under the stimulation of spiritual energy, the formation plate flickered with a faint white light. After absorbing enough spiritual energy, the light instantly magnified hundreds, even thousands of times, enveloping the entire courtyard. The faint white light swayed like a layer of egg white. Lu Xian continued to adjust and control the formation plate. The translucent spiritual barrier changed according to the shape of the courtyard, gradually becoming invisible from the outside, without any noticeable abnormalities. As the master of the formation plate, Lu Xian could clearly sense the presence of the spiritual barrier. The barrier had a certain protective ability, capable of blocking external threats. As long as Lu Xian was at home, he would be able to detect any attempts to breach the spiritual barrier. With the successful deployment of the defensive formation, Lu Xian finally let go of the tension he had been carrying. At this moment he felt a strong sense of security. No longer worried about the spiritual plants in the courtyard being harmed by malicious individuals or demonic creatures, which could affect the rewards from the white light cluster. After resting for a while, Lu Xian took the bag containing the spirit firefly grass seeds and the young red cloud pine seedlings and headed to the spiritual field. After harvesting 9 spirit firefly grass plants, a large area in the spiritual field became available. Lu Xian gestured and took out 10 spirit firefly grass seeds, estimating their future growth range as his spiritual energy surged. The soil in the spiritual field slightly bulged. Under the control of earth manipulation techniques, 10 cracks of varying sizes appeared. The dried-up spirit firefly grass seeds were placed one by one into the cracks, covered with a layer of shallow soil from the spiritual field. Threads of spiritual dew seeped into the soil, nourishing the spirit firefly grass seeds within. Lu Xian concentrated his mind on the seeds and sensed a wave of joy and excitement, as if they were striving to grow upward. He was infected by this emotion and couldn't help but smile. Little ones, grow well and break through the soil quickly to see this magical world. He planned to plant the remaining 10 spirit firefly grass seeds after the other 15 matured. Next he took out the young red cloud pine seedling. After spending half a day in the bag, it seemed to have grown a bit restless. Lu Xian quickly controlled the soil in the spiritual field and buried the roots of the seedling in the soil. After planting he used his spiritual rain technique, and with ample moisture from the spiritual rain, the young red cloud pine seedling regained its vitality. Lu Xian circulated his spiritual energy, and a fist-sized fiery red fireball appeared in front of him. The fireball traced an arc and flew towards the young red cloud pine seedling. Just before touching the seedling, the fiery red fireball silently disintegrated, transforming into hundreds of tiny flames that merged into the branches and leaves of the red cloud pine. Nurtured by the numerous flames, the originally gray-black branches of the red cloud pine revealed a faint red color, exuding a slight sensation of warmth. Countless needle-like branches and leaves stood upright, making the entire red cloud pine resemble a stimulated hedgehog. Quite amusing to behold. Lu Xian couldn't help but smile as he looked at the red cloud pine in its stimulated state. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. During these 3 days, Lu Xian stayed at home and didn't go out. He spent most of his time taking care of and cultivating the plants, practicing earth manipulation techniques and the Gengjin sword art. The cultivation technique he practiced was called Yin Yuan Gong, a common technique with no remarkable features, known for its slow absorption of spiritual energy, of course. For Lu Xian at that time and even now, its affordability was its greatest advantage. After a few days of practicing earth manipulation techniques and the Gengjin sword art, he became more proficient. At least the speed of executing the sword art had increased. If he were to encounter any opponents, this improvement wouldn't make much of a difference in the end. The result would be the same. The sword art would be halfway executed and then collapse every time this happens. I can't help but miss the white light cluster and look forward to the appearance of an experience bar. Lu Xian sighed and walked into the courtyard. After careful cultivation for these few days, for spirit firefly grass plants had fully matured, leaving 11 more to reach maturity with a few more days of meticulous care. The chances of obtaining high-quality spirit firefly grass also increased. Among the 4 plants 3 were of good quality while 1 was ordinary. The ordinary spirit firefly grass still provided 3 months of cultivation time. As for the 3 good quality spirit firefly grass plants, Lu Xian picked up 3 faintly shimmering white light clusters from the soil. Harvest 1 spirit firefly grass plant and obtain a first-grade technique, the Gengjin sword art. Harvest 1 spirit firefly grass plant and gain 6 months of cultivation time. Harvest 1 spirit firefly grass plant and obtain a first-grade talisman, the sword chi talisman. Several thoughts flashed through Lu Xian's mind. And the rewards from the 3 white light clusters also appeared. After absorbing the light cluster containing the sword art, Lu Xian's understanding of the technique reached a new level. The execution speed increased and the power improved by about 20%. The ordinary quality spirit firefly grass provides 3 months of cultivation time, while the good quality ones provide 6 months. This is an unexpected joy. Lu Xian sighed with emotion, then shifted his attention to the faintly appearing talisman in his hand. The talisman was dark yellow, with intricate and cryptic rune patterns on the edges in the center. A faint sword aura was highlighted on the talisman, as if it could burst forth at any moment. The sword chi talisman, a first-grade talisman, a disposable item that can unleash the full power of a mid-level chi refining stage cultivator proficient in sword arts. It possesses formidable killing power, a first-grade talisman. This is like hitting the jackpot, although it was a disposable talisman. Sword arts were known for their killing prowess. This sword chi talisman was equivalent to the full power strike of a mid-level chi refining stage cultivator proficient in sword arts, showcasing its formidable offensive capabilities for Lu Xian, who was at the 3rd level of chi refining. It could be considered a fairly decent trump card. Satisfied with his gains, Lu Xian eagerly anticipated the remaining 11 spirit firefly grass plants. The 10 spirit firefly grass seeds he planted 3 days ago had all sprouted and revealed new shoots. The narrow green leaves were covered with faint fluorescent specks, as small as dust particles, difficult to notice without careful observation. The spirit firefly grass is entering a rapid growth stage, and it's showing good progress. It has a strong demand for spiritual energy. Can an insignificant spiritual plant cultivator like you meet its needs? Lu Xian sneered at the thought that appeared in his mind. His eyes filled with anticipation. The growth of the red cloud pine was slightly slower, growing about an inch. Whenever Lu Xian stimulated it with the fireball technique, the fine red pine needles would stand on end, returning to their natural state only after complete absorption. Night fell. Lu Xian dragged his slightly weary body back into the house. Although there weren't many spiritual plants in the spiritual field at the moment, 11 spirit firefly grass plants about to mature, 10 newly planted seedlings, 2 moon-devouring trees, and 1 red cloud pine, due to the meticulous cultivation methods and repeated use of the spiritual rain and earth manipulation techniques throughout the day. Even someone with Lu Xian's physique as a chi refining cultivator would feel tired. However, he found joy in it. Compared to witnessing the vigorous growth of numerous spiritual plants, the fatigue was nothing. He had a simple dinner, rested for a while, and then sat on the wooden bed, circulating his cultivation technique to restore his spiritual energy. The sudden surge in his cultivation caused his spiritual energy to flow sluggishly, requiring him to adapt and adjust suddenly. He sensed the formation plate beside him emitting a brilliant light. A miniature spiritual barrier appeared on the formation plate, and at a certain position on the barrier, a faint spiritual light shimmered like ripples. Lu Xian's expression turned serious as he memorized the location of the flickering light. The sword Qi talisman slipped into his left palm and he swiftly stood up, leaping in front of the gray stone wall over the wall. Lu Xian's sharp eyes caught sight of a small figure wriggling and swiftly fleeing into the distance. Seeing the tiny figure attempting to invade his spiritual field, Lu Xian couldn't contain his anger. How could he let it escape so easily? His spiritual energy surged within him, and soon a faint golden sword aura condensed, resembling a flowing light as it whizzed towards the small figure. The figure seemed to be solidified by the sword intent, slowing down significantly, and was cut into two by the golden sword aura. As the light dissipated, the surroundings grew dim. Lu Xian tightly held the sword Qi talisman, surveying his surroundings. After confirming that there was nothing unusual, he let out a slow breath. He approached the severed figure, picked up the two pieces, and returned to the courtyard. As soon as he entered the house, a grayish-black grass rope slithered to Lu Xian's feet, tapping his knee to indicate the intrusion into the spiritual field. I've already eliminated it, and now you're giving me the warning. Your response speed is impressive, Lu Xian said, looking at the grass puppet that had retreated after reminding him. Feeling both amused and exasperated in the dim candlelight, he could clearly see the appearance of the severed figure in his hand. It was pitch black with thin fingers and folds of varying depths on its body. It was the black bud insect that Lu Xian had found in the book Common Hazardous Demonic Insects and Their Solutions. You came back for another round. You think my spiritual field is your backyard? Lu Xian controlled the Gungjin sword art to slice the black bud insect into pieces and then used the fireball technique to burn it into ashes. Only then did his anger completely dissipate. It's a good thing the defensive formation was effective and managed to block the intrusion of this black bud insect. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Thinking about the possibility of the black bud insect laying its eggs inside the spiritual plants in his field, potentially affecting his rewards from the light cluster, he felt a lingering fear. He became even more convinced that buying this second-hand formation at a high price was an extremely wise decision. The appearance of the black bud insect was just a small disturbance in his peaceful farming life. In the following days, nothing happened. Lu Xian lived a simple yet fulfilling life, meticulously nurturing the plants with the spiritual rain and earth manipulation techniques every day, occasionally stimulating the red cloud pine with the fireball technique. He didn't go out much during these few days, and the only person who visited was Zhang Hong. He was about to join the Wang family cultivators and hundreds, even thousands, of casual cultivators to explore a newly discovered wilderness. Before leaving, he came to bid farewell to Lu Xian and asked him to take care of his family in his absence. Apart from that, Lu Xian had minimal contact with others. 5 days passed and he harvested 2 more waves of mature spirit firefly grass, totaling 8 plants. Only 3 spirit firefly grass plants were left to mature in the spiritual field. Among the 8 plants, 3 were of ordinary quality, while the remaining 5 were of good quality. Among the 8 white light clusters that appeared, 3 granted cultivation rewards, increasing Lu Xian's cultivation by 1 year and significantly boosting his spiritual power. The other 5 contained experiences related to the earth manipulation technique and the Gungjin sword art. With these 2 experience packs, Lu Xian's understanding of the techniques deepened, and his execution speed and power improved significantly. There were also 3 first-grade talismans: the Sword Qi Talisman, the Swift Progression Talisman for speed enhancement, and the Earth Armor Talisman for defense. Lu Xian kept them all for future use. After harvesting these 8 mature spirit firefly grass plants, a large area became available in the spiritual field. Lu Xian carefully planted the remaining 10 spirit firefly grass seeds. Before long, tender green sprouts emerged, gently trembling in the breeze. The 10 previously planted seedlings had grown considerably. each reaching a height of about 3 inches. The color of their leaves had deepened to a dark green, and the faint fluorescent specks on them became more prominent. The last 3 spirit firefly grass plants didn't keep Lu Xian waiting for long. One day after casting the spiritual rain technique individually, the progress bars beneath the 3 plants reached their maximum. Concentrating his mind, Lu Xian discovered an unexpected joy. Mature spirit firefly grass of good quality, *2, at last. I've cultivated a plant of superior quality. Lu Xian held the brightly glowing spirit firefly grass in his hand, feeling gratified. After meticulous cultivation using the spiritual rain and earth manipulation techniques, out of a total of 24 plants, he had finally cultivated one of superior quality. Although the probability was extremely low, Lu Xian understood. After all, the spiritual energy in his spiritual field was thin, and he had learned about the state of the spirit firefly grass when it was already in its later stages. It was difficult to make significant improvements to its quality and achieve a qualitative leap. If I want a large number of superior quality spiritual plants or even higher level perfect quality ones, I need to meet at least 2 conditions. The concentration of spiritual energy and meticulous cultivation from the planting stage to maturity. Lu Xian summarized in the spiritual field. 3 white light clusters faintly shimmered, capturing Lu Xian's attention. Harvest 1 spirit firefly grass plant and gain 6 months of cultivation. Another cultivation reward. I don't even have the motivation to work hard on my cultivation anymore. Lu Xian sighed as he felt the surging spiritual energy appearing out of thin air. Harvest 1 spirit firefly grass plant and obtain a first-grade talisman. The exorcism talisman, a dark yellow talisman, appeared in Lu Xian's hand, with an eerie ghost pattern in the center, suppressed by a chain formed by 2 strange lines. Exorcism talisman. A first-grade talisman that, when used, can purify and expel evil spirits within a certain range. It's quite rare. A thought flashed through Lu Xian's mind, and he carefully stored the exorcism talisman with the eerie ghost pattern. The last white light cluster contained the superior quality plant. The quality of the spiritual plant was one of the factors influencing the richness of the rewards. So Lu Xian had great expectations for it. The light cluster transformed into countless specks of light. Flowing into Lu Xian's mind, a thought flashed, and he discovered a cultivation technique in his sea of consciousness. The concealment art. Cultivating this technique allows one to conceal their own aura and cultivation level, possessing excellent stealth capabilities.